So after having a conversation with him and my guy Steve, I was like, oh my gosh, we need to have a one-on-one interview because what he was talking about was just so phenomenal. So please welcome our first guest, Mr. Marc Handsome. What is branding to you? And I want to hear from artists, and I want to hear from behind-the-scenes people too. What is branding to you? That part. Anybody else? Huh? Like breathing? Air. Got it? Yes. Identity. Yes. Being you. That's your brand. Yeah. Yeah. Is that? Oh, there's Marc Handsome right now. All right, guys. One more time, please give it up for our very special guest, Mr. Marc Handsome. All right. So, Marc, go ahead and tell these guys a little bit about yourself and like the beginning of your career.
I'm from South Central LA. Name's Marc Handsome. I came into business in 2010 with Power 106 being my leading station. And, you know, I just was very assertive about the things that I was trying to accomplish. So that's what landed me here with V on this panel right now.
Okay, but in the beginning, right, he was actually known as Young Kino. So I don't know if you guys remember him from back then. When I was in LA, I definitely heard that name, right? You had hits with, go ahead and name some people.
My first record was with Wiz Khalifa, Tyga, Jeezy.
Nice.
Yeah, Lil Wayne, Lloyd.
Right.
Things like that.
Okay, so fast forward to now, which is why this is a branding conversation. You completely rebranded.
Yep.
Okay, so let's get into that. What did you rebrand to?
I rebranded to Marc Handsome.
Marc Handsome. Okay, so we're going to talk about that. Why, okay, his first brand, Young Kino, why he decided, right, with all his success as Young Kino, why he decided to rebrand himself and the importance of that, why he decided to now be Marc Handsome. So why did you decide to do Marc Handsome?
So over the course of the career, when you first come out, you know, misguided, especially coming from the inner city, the objective is different. You know, in the inner city, we told that getting it popping is being able to go into different urban areas and be seen collaborating with this person in this neighborhood. You know, more of a resume of a stamp. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But as you elevate and you grow, you learn that street recognition ain't getting a check. You know what I'm saying? So
wait, so let me actually ask that. Like, and I know you guys notice it too, like as a rapper, there's a lot of youngs and a lot of lils. So what do you think that is? Is that like a branding trick, or is that like if you come from, I mean, what do you think that is? Why did you decide to be Young Kino to begin with?
Because I was young when I came out. But Kino was actually a part of my real name. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like a made-up name. That was like a nickname in general. So it was real. You know what I mean?
Okay, so now fast forwarding to Marc Handsome. Okay, so why did you choose Marc Handsome? Is that your name? Could you say, so is that like Marc Kino Handsome?
Nah, so I was sitting with a big sister of mine, right? And we were talking about the levels of success and the things that I had accomplished, but what was missing. You know what I'm saying? Like, why is it that these records are this big, all this radio play happening and things like that, but what's not bringing it over to the actual deal at that time? And so being that my records were always crossover records, records for the females and things like that, we needed to find out what missing piece was not making it collectively work. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So if you have this poster boy look, but this name is for the streets, it's not connecting. And it's important for a brand or anything that you present into the world for all parts of the engine to correspond with each other. You know what I'm saying?
So let's break that down really quick, right? Guys, how you start presenting yourself, especially nowadays in the social media age, whatever you put out there is there forever, right? So you want to make sure you make decisions like this, right, that encompasses you as a full brand, right? So you doing young, maybe dumb things now might be fun, but just remember in the long run, that's going to get you.
I mean, you got to think about it. 2 Chainz did it.
What was his brand before?
So when 2 Chainz started popping, that the world thought he was new in about, what was that, 2015, 2016, that was new to the world, but people didn't know originally his name was Titty Boy.
Bro, that's a crazy name. Titty Boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a lot of things have limitations on it for the longevity. You know what I mean? And you have to identify what may be the roadblock for you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so when I got the vision and the wisdom to understand what was going on, and I chose to rebrand, most people around me wasn't supportive of me doing it because of the accolades they thought I would lose by rebranding. But for me, I saw the vision and what wasn't connecting properly and how hard it would hit connecting it properly. So I was cool with letting those accolades go because I knew what I was about to do and I knew that it was going to work. So I humbled myself and was cool with starting brand new without connecting even that to my resume. Because I don't even speak on Young Kino at all. I actually muted that whole YouTube channel.
Okay. Man, that's crazy to completely start over. Guys, in this industry, that's what it takes though, right? Madonna does it. She keeps rebranding herself, right? Or not rebranding, but really changing up, how she shows up, for sure. So, okay, so do you have any advice now that you have rebranded yourself? Do you have any advice to these artists out here on how to create that big picture, that project, that brand?
I think you really gotta sit back and really focus on what your end goal is. See, I don't think at the beginning I was focused on the end goal. I was still young, so it was just about shows and, high school performances, tours, because I toured with everybody at that time. But I was just performing, but it wasn't no end goal to it. So as responsibilities develop, when you become an adult, you're adulting. Right. You got car notes and mortgages and things like that. You learn that, okay, this ain't for fun. Right. You know what I mean? I need a check for this. So I think the best thing to do is sit back and assess what your end goal is and what you want the world to understand about you.
Yes.
And it starts with actually believing in what you see for yourself. Because that's what happened for me. Like the people I worked with in the beginning, it wasn't quote unquote politically correct for me to walk up to Lil Wayne and walk up to them and get these records because of the status thing. But I didn't even know it was a status thing because I just felt like I knew what was for me, believing in myself. And that's where it starts from. I don't really think that nobody can contribute something to somebody better than what they can contribute themselves. So for me, it was just all about what I felt. And it's always been about what I felt. And then having a team around me that supports the vision and believes in the vision. Because that's what I have now.
Yo, actually, yes, what you said there is so powerful. Because same, guys, I was, a little bit of naivety is actually not a bad thing, right? Because you're not shy. Like, you're like, when everybody's like, oh, you can't do that, you're like, well, I don't really know what I can and cannot do. I know what I want. I know my intention and big picture. So I'm going to just do it. I'm going to walk into these. That's how I got into a lot of situations.
I think that was the only thing that was great in this business as far as not knowing. Because obviously in this business, you got to know everything that you're doing. But I think in the beginning with not being aware of that was actually the best best thing for me because I was just walking up on people. You know what I mean? Like, yo, I got this record out. It's doing this. And they like, yeah, well, we gonna check on it. You know, and a lot of things happen like that where people was like, well, we gonna check and see if you doing what you say you doing. And then I would look up and they done sent the feature. You know what I mean? So
that's like, do you guys believe in law of attraction? Anybody? Yeah. That's like law of attraction because you don't have these blockages, right? There's not that box that you created yet on these things. So,
like, even the conversation we had with me now being signed, like with me now being signed to Jim Jones in the East Coast, I was saying I was gonna sign to him like way when it wasn't cool to have interaction between the West Coast and the East Coast. So now I'm being signed to my favorite artist. I was talking about that when I first had my first interview. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I heavily believe in law and attraction. When before I even knew it was a thing, I was speaking that in general. So now it's even more powerful for me because I understand that law of attraction is a thing that exists. So I just perfect it now. Like, because I always feel like I can make what I want to make happen. I think anybody can. Yeah. You know?
I mean, so much so that you're like, I'm going to just turn off all the things that I had before. I know I can do it again. Right? And he's completely rebranded himself. So obviously we're short on time because we started late and I was having fun with our exercise earlier. But so essentially what I heard from you, what I got was branding is a full picture of who you are, right? Not just who you are authentically, but also how you want to represent yourself to your market, right? We all agree that's what branding is. But remembering that it's a full picture. It's not just you hanging out at home or whatever. Remember, branding is a product, right? So you have you as an artist or you as a creative, behind the scenes people, right? And then you have your personal life. So what is your branding for this, right? Okay, and then the second thing that we talked about is law of attraction, which a lot of you guys know, but that's a reminder, right? You said, go ahead.
But the biggest thing is self-love. You know what I mean? Self-love and self-confidence. Because self-love and self-confidence, if it's exuded properly, it doesn't come off as cockiness. You know, it comes off in faith. You know what I mean? And presentation is everything. The first thing that a person said to me was Big Boy from Power 106 at the time. He's on, 92.3 The Beat now. The first thing he told me in the first interview was, it's character before anything. Yes. If people like who you are as a person, then you'll get that opportunity to do other things. Yes. You know, because it's so many people who's talented in anything and don't get the opportunity, and they usually deal with character or bad business or, you know, whatever the case may be. So what I try to do most of the time is I don't even really enter a room or enter it on some artist stuff. Like I enter it on just me as a man in general, you know, and when conversation happens, that's when I, you know, go into talking about the brand. But it's just character before anything for me. You know?
I love that. Yes. Snap, snap. Oh my gosh. All right. So like I said, we are running out of time. I just want to say thank you so much, Marc. I know it was like so last minute to get you on here, but we had to. Guys, especially the VIPs, if you want to have a one-on-one to talk about branding or anything else on how he goes about these things, by all means, we can go ahead and set that up, right, Marc? Awesome. He's so great. Give it up for Marc Handsome. Make sure you guys follow him, connect with him. Thank you so much, Marc.